Today I would like to invite you to listen to the Dhammapada of the Buddha Shakyamuni. 149 verses from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel Thien Thai in the USA. Like gourds cast away in autumn are these dove-hued bones. What pleasure is there in looking at them? The Blessed One spoke this verse to remind all beings of the impermanence and the ultimate emptiness of attachment to the body. In the time of the Buddha, disciples and laypeople often clung to the beauty, strength, and form of the human body, regarding it as a source of pride, delight, or identity. There was once a young practitioner who had grown up in a household where appearance and social status were highly valued. Admired for his youthful form, he took pride in his physical vitality and sought to maintain it through careful diet, exercise, and adornment. When he joined the monastic community, he encountered the reality of impermanence through the observation of the aged, the sick, and the deceased. One day, as the monks walked through a village, they came upon a heap of bones left after cremation, pale and lifeless, resembling dove-colored gourds discarded in autumn. The young practitioner was struck by the sight and reflected deeply on the Buddha's teaching. The body, however beautiful or admired, ultimately decays, leaving nothing to cling to. This awareness pierced the illusions of pride and desire he had carried for so long. He realized that looking upon the body as a source of pleasure or identity is futile because, like these discarded bones, it is transient, impermanent, and ultimately empty. The Buddha's verse encourages the practitioner to cultivate detachment from bodily attachment, to understand that true joy and freedom are not found in form or appearance, but in the cultivation of virtue, mindfulness, concentration, and insight. The young practitioner observed how people grieve when bodies are lost, how they cling to beauty, and how they fear illness and death. Yet these reactions are rooted in misunderstanding, for the body is but a temporary vessel, and attachment to it sustains suffering. Seeing the bones, he felt both humility and clarity. The delight and pride he once took in his body were replaced with resolve to cultivate what endures: wisdom, ethical conduct, and compassion. Reflection on the bones also inspired compassion for others, who, like himself, cling to beauty, health, and form, unaware of their impermanence. This realization transformed his practice. Each breath, each step, each moment became an opportunity to observe the arising and passing of the body, to cultivate detachment, and to develop insight into the fleeting nature of all conditioned things. The verse teaches that just as gourds cast away in autumn lose their value and are left to decay, so too the body, however vibrant, is eventually abandoned by life and returns to dust. By contemplating this truth, the practitioner trains the mind to loosen attachment, reduce pride, and awaken compassion for all beings. The young monk practiced mindfulness of the body, noting its sensations, vulnerabilities, and changes without clinging or aversion. Pain, discomfort, pleasure, and beauty were observed as transient phenomena, arising and passing according to causes and conditions. This awareness deepened insight into the nature of suffering and impermanence, allowing the practitioner to cultivate peace, clarity, and equanimity. Observing the body as a temporary vessel encourages the mind to turn inward toward qualities that endure: virtue, concentration, mindfulness, and wisdom. The monk recognized that external appearance and bodily health provide only fleeting satisfaction. whereas ethical conduct and the cultivation of insight offer lasting benefit. This awareness also fosters humility, for pride in appearance is seen as baseless and temporary. Compassion naturally arises, as the practitioner understands that all beings share the same fragile, impermanent condition. The Buddha's verse thus serves as both a warning and a guide, warning against attachment to form and guiding toward diligent practice. Ethical living and cultivation of wisdom. Through repeated reflection on impermanence, the practitioner develops freedom from fear, craving, and pride. Observing the dove-colored bones, the young monk saw clearly that the body, however admired, cannot provide enduring satisfaction. Life itself is fleeting, and death is inevitable. By contemplating this truth, he trained the mind to rest in awareness, the heart in compassion, and life in ethical and mindful conduct. Each sensation, each thought, each action becomes an opportunity to cultivate insight and equanimity. The verse reminds the practitioner to see through the illusions of bodily attachment, to understand that the body, like the discarded gourds, is impermanent, subject to decay, and devoid of lasting pleasure. By integrating this understanding into daily life, one cultivates mindfulness, ethical conduct, and compassion, transforming ordinary experience into the path of liberation. The young monk learned to approach the body with gentle awareness, caring for it as a tool for practice, yet never clinging to it as a source of identity or joy. Through this continuous practice, the mind became steady, the heart compassionate, and life aligned with the Dharma. The Buddha's teaching illuminates the fleeting nature of physical form and inspires the practitioner to direct attention toward that which endures. Clarity of mind, cultivation of virtue, and awakening to the truth of impermanence. The sight of dove-hued bones becomes a teacher, the decay of the body a guide, and reflection on mortality a doorway to wisdom and compassion. Life, though transient, is precious, and each moment provides the opportunity to cultivate insight, reduce attachment, and awaken the heart to liberation. The young monk's understanding grew as he observed the impermanence of his own body, the bodies of others, and the inevitability of death. Using this awareness to strengthen meditation, ethical conduct, and compassion for all beings. The Buddha's verse transforms ordinary perception of the body into profound insight, where impermanence is clear, attachment diminishes, and freedom arises. By reflecting on the body as dove-colored bones, cast away and perishable, the practitioner cultivates mindfulness, equanimity, and clarity, preparing for death with understanding and peace while living fully in each present moment. As the young monk continued his contemplation, the understanding of the body's impermanence deepened, revealing layers of insight that touched every aspect of life. He reflected that just as gourds, once vibrant and full, are cast away in autumn, so too the human body, once strong and admired, is ultimately abandoned by life and left to decay. Observing this truth, he realized that attachment to appearance, health, or bodily pleasure only binds the mind to suffering. For all these qualities are fleeting and dependent on conditions beyond our control. He began to see that craving for the body's pleasures arises naturally, yet clinging to them inevitably results in dissatisfaction. The Buddha's teaching on dove-hued bones guides the practitioner to recognize the futility of seeking lasting happiness in the physical form. It encourages turning attention inward toward cultivating the mind, refining conduct, and awakening to the truth of impermanence. Daily life became a meditation in itself for the monk. Eating, walking, sitting, and interacting with others were observed as moments to witness the body's arising and passing. Sensations of comfort, discomfort, strength, and weakness were noted with mindfulness. And each experience became an opportunity to cultivate detachment and insight. The young monk learned that by observing the body with clarity, one can diminish attachment and pride while developing patience, compassion, and equanimity. He saw how people grieve over the loss of beauty, the decline of health, and the inevitability of death, and he recognized these responses as rooted in misunderstanding. The body, though temporarily vibrant, is ultimately perishable, a nest of disease, and a vehicle that cannot provide enduring satisfaction. This understanding inspired him to cultivate wisdom, virtue, and compassion, seeing that these qualities are enduring and benefit both oneself and others. The contemplation of dove-hued bones also led him to reflect on the universality of suffering. All beings, regardless of status, beauty, or strength, are subject to decay and death. Recognizing this shared condition fostered deep compassion in the monk's heart. He began to extend kindness and care to all beings, understanding their vulnerability and impermanence. Ethical conduct, guided by insight into impermanence, became a natural expression of this compassion. The young monk further realized that mindfulness of death and decay is not morbid but transformative. Each observation of impermanence strengthens diligence and practice, sharpens attention, and deepens insight. By seeing the body as perishable, the mind is freed from illusions of self, pride, and clinging, allowing clarity and understanding to flourish. The Buddha's teaching also illuminates the connection between body and mind. While the body decays and is cast aside like discarded gourds, the mind can be trained to remain steady, compassionate, and aware. Concentration, ethical living, and insight cultivate enduring qualities that withstand the impermanence of the body. The monk observed that even as the body aged, weakened, or suffered, he could maintain equanimity, clarity, and compassion, recognizing that these qualities are the true treasures of practice. He reflected on the lives of others in the monastic community and the village, seeing the same fragility in all. This awareness reduced pride, jealousy, and attachment, and strengthened his ability to act with kindness and understanding. Life, though ending inevitably in death, became a field for practice, where each sensation, each interaction, and each moment was an opportunity to cultivate virtue, mindfulness, and insight. The young monk also observed that delight in bodily pleasure, when unmindful, generates craving and suffering. By seeing the body as a temporary, perishable vessel, he learned to enjoy comfort without attachment, to experience strength without pride, and to meet weakness without aversion. Each experience of the body became a teacher, guiding him toward detachment, patience, and clarity. The Buddha's verse transforms ordinary awareness of the body into profound insight. By contemplating the body as dove-colored bones, discarded and perishable, the practitioner cultivates equanimity, mindfulness, and freedom from attachment. The recognition of impermanence becomes a source of compassion, wisdom, and ethical conduct. The young monk's practice illustrates how observation of the body's fragility strengthens meditation, deepens insight, and nurtures a heart that is gentle, clear, and aware. Through continuous reflection on impermanence, attachment diminishes, pride fades, and the mind rests in clarity and freedom. The dove-colored bones serve as a mirror, revealing the transient nature of flesh and the preciousness of mindfulness and virtue. Life, though fleeting, becomes a living practice where each breath, each action, and each sensation offers an opportunity to cultivate understanding and compassion. The monk learned to meet suffering, illness, and aging with equanimity, to observe pleasure without attachment, and to use the awareness of impermanence to guide every thought, word, and action. The Buddha's teaching encourages the practitioner to see clearly, act ethically, and cultivate insight, recognizing that while the body is transient, the mind can be trained to embody steadiness, clarity, and compassion. By integrating this understanding into daily life, the young monk transformed ordinary experience into the path of liberation, where impermanence is observed, attachment is loosened, and wisdom and compassion flourish. Each moment became an opportunity to train the mind, refine conduct, and awaken the heart, preparing for the inevitability of death with clarity and peace. As the young monk's awareness deepened, he realized that seeing the body as dove-colored bones is not merely an act of reflection, but a profound invitation to live fully in the present with wisdom and compassion. Each moment of life, each sensation of the body, each thought of the mind, becomes an opportunity to awaken. The impermanence of the body is not a reason for despair, but a guide to practice, a reminder that clinging to form is futile and that the mind, when trained in mindfulness, concentration, and ethical living, holds the true treasure. The monk observed the decay of all beings, seeing that the strong become weak, the youthful grow old, and the beautiful fade. This universal truth inspired humility, dissolving pride and self-importance, and opened his heart to compassion for all who suffer, who cling, who fear loss. He began to live each day with care, using the body as a vehicle for meditation, for study, and for acts of kindness. Recognizing that while the vessel is temporary, the cultivation of virtue and insight is enduring. Observing the dove-colored bones reminded him that attachment to bodily form is a source of sorrow and delusion. By contrast, mindful awareness of impermanence nurtures freedom, patience, and gentleness. Even the experience of pleasure is transformed, no longer a cause for craving, but an occasion to see arising and passing. Illness and pain, once feared, became teachers, revealing the impermanent, conditioned nature of all phenomena and strengthening the mind's resilience and clarity. Death, once a source of anxiety, is now met with understanding. Knowing that life ends and that the body is eventually cast aside like gourds in autumn, the monk's heart rests in equanimity and compassion. This awareness fuels diligent practice, encouraging him to act ethically, speak gently, and cultivate wisdom. Each action, each thought, each breath is a field of practice, an opportunity to embody the Dharma. The realization of impermanence also deepens gratitude. The young monk treasures each moment, cherishes every opportunity to practice, and nurtures relationships with mindfulness and care. Life, though fleeting, is a precious opportunity to awaken, to reduce suffering, and to benefit others. By contemplating the dove-colored bones, he sees clearly the transience of flesh, the fragility of life, and the necessity of turning inward toward lasting qualities. The Buddha's teaching illuminates the path. Attachment to the body leads to suffering. Mindfulness, ethical conduct, and insight lead to freedom. The monk's days are shaped by this awareness, and his heart is softened by compassion for all beings who share the same impermanence. Death is approached with clarity and peace, and life is lived with purpose, presence, and kindness. Through repeated contemplation, the monk understands that though the body decays and all form is temporary, the cultivation of wisdom, virtue, and compassion endures, ripening into awakening. Each moment becomes a doorway to insight, each sensation a teacher, and each interaction an opportunity to embody the Dharma. The dove-colored bones are a mirror reflecting impermanence, calling the practitioner to mindfulness, ethical living, and compassionate action. By seeing clearly, the monk loosens attachment, cultivates equanimity, and prepares for the inevitability of death with serenity. The Buddha's words transform ordinary awareness of the body into profound understanding. Life is recognized as transient, suffering is met with insight, and liberation becomes attainable through mindfulness, virtue, and compassion. The young monk's example shows that by reflecting on the body's impermanence, one cultivates steadiness of mind, clarity of heart, and skillful conduct in all aspects of life. Attachment fades, fear diminishes, and the mind rests in the gentle freedom of awareness. Life, though ending in death, becomes a continuous opportunity to awaken, to practice diligently, and to extend kindness to all beings. The body, like gourds cast away in autumn, is perishable, but the cultivation of mind and heart is enduring. Through this reflection, the practitioner embraces impermanence, lives ethically, and awakens compassion. The verse reminds all beings that attachment to form is fleeting, yet insight and virtue endure, guiding life with clarity, mindfulness, and freedom. Thank you for watching my video. Namalamit Ba. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.